The main event of Night 1 of SummerSlam delivered a highly anticipated clash as CM Punk challenged Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. The atmosphere was electric and chants of CM Punk filled the stadium even before the bell rang, making it clear who the crowd was behind. The match itself was methodical, built on groundwork, takedowns, and heavy submissions early on. Gunther controlled much of the pace, unleashing his signature chops that turned Punk's chest into a mess within minutes. While both men executed with precision, the match didn't immediately hit the emotional high fans expected until the final stretch. Punk, exhausted and worn down, found an opening after tripping Gunther onto the announce table. Der Ring General returned to the ring battered and bloody, setting the stage for a powerful finish. A fired-up Punk hit 2 back-to-back GTS finishers and covered the champion to win the match and the title. The stadium erupted as Punk held the gold for the first time in years, visibly emotional as the referee raised his hand. But the celebration didn't last long. Seth Rollins' music hit, and the Visionary emerged on crutches with a heavy knee brace. At his side was Paul Heyman, briefcase in hand. At first, it looked like Rollins was simply there to remind Punk of the threat of a future cash-in, but moments later, he dropped the crutches, ripped off the brace, grabbed the case, and sprinted to the ring. Punk tried to fight him off with the title, but was too drained. Rollins struck with the briefcase, cashed in the Money in the Bank contract, and hit one devastating stomp. Just like that, Seth Rollins became a 6-time world champion exactly 10 years after his iconic cash-in at WrestleMania 31. According to Fightful Select, Rollins' supposed knee injury against LA Knight a few weeks ago was the spark for a master plan that very few people knew about. The match itself was always booked for Rollins to win, but the sudden finish was scripted to make the injury look legitimate. Once Rollins made his way backstage and went quiet, even some of his closest allies grew concerned, unsure if something had genuinely gone wrong. The following night, Rollins showed up at WWE Evolution on crutches, a deliberate move WWE knew would leak out to the public. Rollins and WWE executed a masterclass in misdirection, blurring the line between fiction and reality. After the SummerSlam broadcast ended, Rollins made his way to the stage and recreated his iconic WrestleMania 31 moment, swinging the title overhead and holding it up in nearly the same fashion. 10 years after his first cash-in, Rollins had done it again. On the SummerSlam Saturday post-show, Triple H, the real-life mastermind behind the ruse of the century, spoke to the media in his role as Rollins' on-screen boss and praised the execution of the plan. He called Rollins' timing perfect and the strategy smart. However, staying in character, he also took issue with the forged medical documents, stating that WWE management would have to address that part of the situation later. Seth Rollins is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. He didn't go through the match, didn't go through the grind, and still left with the title. My hat's off to him, but we'll deal with those bogus medical reports later. Now Rollins is once again the face of Raw, but he's also got a huge target on his back. CM Punk's rivalry with Rollins, which felt stalled after Paul Heyman's betrayal, suddenly has a real reason to continue. The way this played out sets the stage for one final showdown, and the only fitting place to settle the score now is inside Hell in a Cell. At the same time, Rollins has other issues to deal with. LA Knight is likely to come calling after getting played at Saturday night's main event, and then there's the looming confrontation with Roman Reigns, unfinished business that fans haven't forgotten. But the feud with Reigns might take a backseat for now. As previously reported by PW Insider, Reigns has Hollywood obligations coming up. He's set to play Akuma in the live-action Street Fighter movie, with filming scheduled to begin in August 2025. Given that, it's likely that after his victory at the biggest party of the summer, the Tribal Chief will step away from WWE once again. So, how should WWE move forward? Should Punk get immediate revenge? Should Rollins hold the title until WrestleMania season? And how do LA Knight and Roman Reigns factor into the chaos? Let us know in the comments. What's your dream scenario for the CM Punk-Seth Rollins fallout? And speaking of fallout, Gunther's loss wasn't just about crowning a new champion. WWE made a calculated call to take the World Heavyweight title in a different direction after SummerSlam. Gunther's reign lasted nearly 259 days, and while dominant, officials felt it was time to shift gears creatively heading into the fall. Internally, the decision also gave Gunther something he hadn't had in years, a break. Der Ring General has been on TV and touring almost non-stop for 3 straight years. Dropping the title allows him to recharge, and when he returns, it opens him up for fresh matchups and storylines. Now free from the championship picture, Gunther could move over to SmackDown or jump into feuds with top names like Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, John Cena, or Damian Priest. there's plenty of room to shake things up. So while his reign ends, the possibilities for what's next are wide open. What should be next for Gunther after SummerSlam? Should WWE give him a short break or fast-track a feud with Cody, Orton, or Priest? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Enjoying the video? A quick like goes a long way in helping us grow and deliver more wrestling news you care about. SummerSlam kicked off with a high-impact tag team clash as Roman Reigns and Jey Uso reunited to take on Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed in a physical opener that delivered big moments, but also left some lingering concerns. The match started with both teams exchanging heavy offense, but it was Breakker and Reed who dominated large stretches early on. The powerhouse duo used their size and speed to isolate Reigns and keep him grounded. This was the Tribal Chief's first match since WrestleMania 41, and the challengers looked determined to make it a painful return. Breakker made a huge statement midway through the match, delivering a thunderous spear to Reigns on the outside, but that momentum didn't last. In one key spot, Breakker launched himself at Roman Reigns and ended up crashing ribs first into the commentary desk, a moment that visibly slowed him down. Back in the ring, Reigns and Uso found their rhythm late into the match. After hitting a 1D on Reed, Breakker broke up the pinfall just in time. Reigns then stepped in, taking a brutal spear from Breakker to protect his cousin. That sacrifice gave Jey the opening he needed. He landed a clean spear on Reed, followed by an Uso splash for the victory. The Bloodline walked away with the win, but all eyes were on Breakker moments later. After the match, a backstage video surfaced showing Bron Breakker limping heavily behind the stage. As he walked up the stairs to exit, Breakker appeared unable to put weight on his right foot and leaned on a WWE official for support. The clip quickly made the rounds online, raising concerns about a possible injury. It's unclear exactly when the damage occurred, but Reigns did spear Breakker through the barricade during the closing stretch. Another risky move saw Breakker leap off the middle rope to knock Jey Uso off Reed's shoulders. While he showed no signs of limping on the live broadcast, the post-match footage tells a different story. As of this recording, WWE has not provided any official update on Breakker's condition, but given the number of high-impact spots in the match, fans will be watching closely to see if the rising star is sidelined. Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross closed out their trilogy with a high-stakes rematch following one win apiece in their earlier encounters. But this third meeting wasn't just about settling the score, it was about pushing Zayn's limits and challenging his moral compass. The match started with Kross taking a methodical approach, jeering at Zayn while delivering heavy stomps and demanding he admit Kross was right all along. Kross's focus wasn't just on winning, it was on exposing what he called Zayn's darker nature. Kross received solid support from the live crowd who cheered him at every opportunity. For someone often left out of the spotlight, the reaction stood out. As the match picked up, Scarlett got involved by rolling a steel pipe into the ring to distract the referee. Kross tried to use the weapon, but Zayn caught him with a blue thunder bomb and went for the pin. A delayed count gave Kross enough time to kick out at the last second. Frustrated, Zayn let loose a flurry of offense against the ropes, forcing the referee to step in multiple times. Scarlett then took things a step further, this time rolling the pipe towards Zayn and daring him to use it. Zayn held it for a second, clearly conflicted, but threw it aside. That moment of hesitation almost cost him as Kross rolled him up for a close near fall. Zayn rebounded with an exploder suplex into the corner and followed it up with the haluva kick to seal the win. The match ended on a slightly odd note. After taking the haluva kick, Kross appeared like he was about to kick out, but instead reached towards Sami, leading to a brief exchange of words between the two after the pin. Once the bell rang, Zayn walked away, leaving Kross and Scarlett in the ring, sending a clear message that he was done with them. Kross responded with a subtle nod, as if he agreed. The match didn't come without physical risk. Midway through, Zayn took a Saito suplex that looked rough, landing high on his head. Fortunately, he recovered quickly and finished the bout without any issues. Outside the ring, the result may have deeper implications. Karrion Kross is reportedly nearing the end of his WWE contract, which is set to expire this month. He is yet to sign a new deal, and during a recent interview with Battleground Podcast, he hinted that fans would soon find out where things stand. The loss to Zayn, despite a wave of fan support, may be telling, possibly indicating that the former NXT champion hasn't finalized a renewal with WWE. Adding further fuel to speculation, a fan-captured clip showed Kross and Scarlett acknowledging the crowd after the match, a gesture that some interpreted as a subtle farewell. However, there remains a chance that WWE and Kross could reach a last-minute agreement and extend his run. Meanwhile, Zayn's actions in the ring told a story of their own. His hesitation with the pipe, the raw frustration during the match, and the serious tone of the final interaction with Kross all suggest deeper character tension. Zayn's identity has long been tied to righteousness and resilience, but what happens when those principles begin to crack? Should WWE explore a new direction for Sami Zayn, possibly turning him heel for the first time in years? The WWE Women's Championship was on the line in the fourth match of the night as Jade Cargill challenged Tiffany Stratton in what many viewed as a defining moment for the former AEW star. Physically, Stratton rarely finds herself at a disadvantage, but Cargill's height and power gave her the upper hand early on. From the start, both women relied on their athletic ability, trading powerful moves that showed off their strength. For Cargill, this felt like a make-or-break performance, and she entered the match determined to prove how far she's come since arriving in WWE. That said, the match wasn't without flaws. A clear botch stood out during a key moment late in the bout. After hitting her signature move, Jaded, Cargill was supposed to roll through to a pin, with Stratton's leg landing on the bottom rope to break the count, but Stratton missed the placement, forcing Cargill to awkwardly lift her opponent's leg onto the rope herself. The hesitation was obvious, and the crowd noticed. In the final sequence, Cargill stayed on the champion and set up for another Jaded, this time from the middle turnbuckle, but Stratton slipped out of the hold and capitalized, landing the prettiest moonsault ever to retain her title. The finish came abruptly, leaving some fans surprised that the match didn't go longer or end with a more decisive statement. Many expected this to be Cargill's moment to capture her first singles title in WWE, especially after a strong showing throughout the match, but WWE had different plans, and Stratton continued her undefeated run in 2025. Now sitting at 14-0 for the year, she added the Queen of the Ring to her list of fallen challengers. The result has raised new questions about Cargill's future. Could this be the moment that pushes her to turn heel? So far, she's maintained a babyface role in WWE, but under Triple H's creative direction, a more aggressive, ruthless version of Cargill could bring fresh energy and chaos to the SmackDown Women's division. Then again, maybe this loss sparks something else entirely. What if Cargill decides she's done with Friday nights altogether? A jump to Monday Night Raw could reignite her unfinished business with Naomi, only this time with the Women's World title in the mix. That rivalry already has history, and adding championship stakes could take it to the next level. Is Jade Cargill heading for a character transformation or a brand switch? Either way, SummerSlam may have just lit the fuse for what comes next. Jelly Roll made his WWE in-ring debut in the penultimate match of the night, teaming with Randy Orton against Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. For a first-timer, the country star stepped up under bright lights, and the crowd was with him from the start, especially after commentary highlighted his 230-pound weight loss. He showed raw effort despite some struggles, even drawing laughs and support for selling a body shot like a knockout to the face. The roof nearly blew off when he returned to the ring late in the match, but his momentum was quickly shut down by a Claymore and a frog splash. The loss didn't matter. Jelly Roll made a real impression. After the match, Triple H spoke on the SummerSlam Saturday post-show, praising Jelly Roll's heart and hinting that he might not be done with WWE. Hunter confirmed the two had already spoken backstage about the possibility of doing more, and noted how much respect Jelly Roll had shown toward the wrestling world. A comeback seems more likely than not. So what do you think? Should WWE bring Jelly Roll back for another run? In the second match of the night, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez defended the women's tag team titles against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. The match had good energy throughout, and all four women worked hard to make it feel different from earlier bouts. There was a brief slowdown when Bliss was kept from tagging Flair, but things picked up again quickly. Late in the match, Bliss accidentally hit Flair after Raquel dodged her punch, which briefly gave the champions an opening, but the challengers bounced back. Flair landed a big boot on Raquel, and Bliss finished things with a Sister Abigail to Perez for the win. Despite a couple of minor missteps and a somewhat expected finish, the match held up well. Now the big question coming out of this match, can Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair actually coexist as champions? Their uneasy alliance has been clear from the start, with subtle tension in every backstage segment and even in ring miscommunication, like Bliss accidentally striking Flair during the match. While they managed to capture the titles tonight, it feels more like a short-term victory than the start of a dominant reign. So what happens next? Could their friction cost them the titles in a rematch against Raquel and Roxanne? And more importantly, is WWE setting the stage for a future showdown between Bliss and Flair themselves? Let us know what you think. Will this team implode before it even gets going? And we're ending with CM Punk. While fans focus on title changes and surprise outcomes, Punk's gear quietly told its own story. The nod to the Fantastic Four wasn't just a style choice, it was a tribute rooted in personal fandom. For Punk, it's clobberin' time wasn't just a catchphrase at SummerSlam, it was a full circle moment connecting his in-ring persona to the comic book hero who inspired it. That's it for today, guys. How was SummerSlam? Did it live up to your expectations? Which match stole the show for you? And what's your take on Seth's cash-in? Hit or miss? Sound off in the comments below.